Hey, make yourself a better guitar player with Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. The 80s rock stuff is my jam, so this is a really cool one for me to play, and I'd love to share it with you guys. This song is in the, it's tuned to regular standard tuning, so E, A, D, G, B, E. A lot of riding on the A string, right? So the A is the main note. It's in the key of A minor. And the reason why I know it's A minor is because there's a lot of C notes in it with it. If it was an A major type scale, it would have C sharp notes mixed with the A. But since this is the C, that's what we got, right? So we're starting this off with an A power chord. So it's A, and then the E and the A on the two middle strings. So the second fret of the fourth string and the second fret of the third string together. And you can hit that with this A note. And what I typically do is drape my thumb over and touch that big fat string just in case I would bump it, right? If I accidentally hit the big thick one, it's not going to make a sound. So a lot of electric guitar, especially distortion, is controlling what you don't want to hear just as much as putting out there what you do want to hear. So we have the A power chord to start with. Now, if this is an A power chord, the second fret, up here is a C power chord, and up here is a D power chord. So it's 5th and 5th in the two middle strings, and 7 and 7 in the two middle strings. But just to ground it to A, got a couple A notes in there, right? Now we hit that guy, right? So it's 5, 5, 7, 7. Now we have 5 and 4. What 5 and 4 is here is we have a G note and the note B mixed with it. Now these are the two notes that make G a major chord. It's these two notes. If you played a G chord like this before, it's G and B. It's just G and B in a higher octave. So now it's a little jumpy, fast picking on the G string. So it's 0, 0, and 4, 4, back to 0, 0. So this part, really a lot of G notes, right? Now these notes, though, are all notes from the A minor scale. So that's the middle part there. So now we're going to take this G chord thing that we played before and pick it and slide it down 2 spaces. Now if we slide a G chord down 2 spaces, we're going to slide from G down to G flat or F sharp down to F. And that's just the 2 middle strings, right? 5th fret and 4th fret. And after you pick it, you slide it and then pick it again here at 3 and 2. Now, you did the G slide down to F. Now you're going to do the F slide up to G. And then you're going to play a ginormous E5 power chord. Let me explain that a little bit. The note E is here on the big fat string. The E string on the skinny side is also an E string. They're both E notes. To make E a power chord, what we're really talking about doing is adding the note B to the note E. So if we have E and B together, that's an E power chord. Well, the 2 strings up here are B and E. So if I hit these E and B and these 2 B and E, I have a ginormous E power chord. You can even get this guy in there because that's another copy of E right there. You just don't want to hit that G string because that adds a new element to the chord, throws it off. We just want that simple power chord. Adding the note G to those 2 E notes makes E a minor chord, and in this one we just don't want to define it as minor or major. We just want that big fat thick E chord sound, which is the notes E and B together, and that's why they're referred to a lot of times as an E power chord or an E5 chord. The 5 comes in when you're counting from E, F, G, then we run out of notes, right? And music uses the alphabet A through G. So E, F, G, A, B. That's the 5th note. So we're counting 5, right? E, F, G, A, B. E and B together is the 5 chord because we have E in the 5th note of the E scale. Really simple definition, but people often call it an E power chord. That sounds really great, especially with distortion, and that's what they're all about on this song, right? That's the chorus. He comes out of the chorus by going E to F. Now that is an open E, big fat string, to the 1st fret of the fat string. And then a harmonic, when you'll notice that's the 3rd fret of the 4th string. This is something I talk about a lot too, the relationship here. We have the F note here. If you go down 2 strings and up 2 spaces, you're duplicating that F note in a higher octave. So a 5 chord would be F plus the 5th note of the F scale, which is here, and then the octave of the F is here. So if I play these 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, I'm really only playing 2 different notes. I have 2 Fs and 1 C. In this case, though, we're getting way deeper than we need to. It just goes 0 to 1. Then when he plays the octave of the F there, he does it as a pinch harmonic. A natural harmonic is when you touch a string over a fret without pressing. You just touch the string. So I'm not touching or pressing down. I'm just touching, barely touching the string. The lighter, the better. And those are called natural harmonics. They mostly happen, or the best, at the 5th fret, the 7th fret, 9th, and 12th, like kind of where the dots are. They happen the most there. But an artificial harmonic or a pinch harmonic happens when I take this finger, the picking hand, and I don't just pick the note. I angle my thumb a little bit so that the side of my thumb hits the string at the same time as the pick. And it feels like a pinch. And it makes it pop out with a higher note, right? That's really happening when the pick is hitting the string at the same time as the edge of the right hand or picking thumb. They're hitting at the same exact time. And again, just like the artificial harmonics, you're just barely touching the string with the thumb. You don't want to overdo it. A lot of this comes down to your guitar and the settings on the guitar and amp together. Sometimes you could fight like crazy and they're not going to come out. So I found people can struggle with these at times. Don't get too worked up about it. A lot of times it comes down to, like I was saying, the guitar and the amp together, the right distortion, the right pickup, the ambience in the room. If it's really hot, you know, as far as hot meaning loud and touchy and sensitive, that can be really a helper with this one. So again, to recap, we just went over the chorus part of Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne. It's in standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E, and it's really based around the note A. So the note A is the 5th string open. It's really nice, and a lot of metal songs do this because you got that open string ready to just hit it anytime you want, right? Like at the intro. Lots of these A notes. So yeah, so the key of A minor, and then all the other chord things that we're doing in there are chords using notes from the A minor scale. I mean, I often describe music theory as that. If we're in the key of A minor, I'm going to have the 7 notes that are in the A minor scale, and I can use chords that are built with one, you know, any combination of those 7 notes. I bang those notes together, see what I can come up with for chords. And these are real common ones for the key of A minor. We've got A minor or A5, the G and the F majors, and the E5 power chord. They're all just perfect for the scale for A minor. So let me know your thoughts as usual, and I'll look for you in the next video.